So Sally, I've always wondered, what is a typical day like for you?
Oh, I don't know if there is a typical day, but it usually involves working with a lot of people on the leadership team, with franchisees, with vendors, combined with phone calls and emails. And that's if I'm in the office and not traveling. But I spend a fair amount of time on the road as well, whether I'm looking at potential real estate sites, visiting stores, or meeting with franchisees. So,
how involved do you get at looking at different sites? Are you pretty involved in that, or do you just kind of come in every so often?
we consider the real estate selection process to be one of the most critical things that we do. Not only because of the cost, it represents your brand, but the 10-year, 15-year commitment you're making. So we have about 4 executives on the real estate committee, and one of the 4 of us always sees one of the real estate sites. I try to get to every site within their first year, of opening. And we're opening them almost faster than I can get there.
Yeah, have you ever gone to a site and you thought, uh-oh?
Earlier in
Yeah.
the life of Buffalo Wild Wings,
Okay.
it would be, wonder how we made this decision.
Mm-hmm.
But we've gotten better, and we really hold ourselves to a pretty clear set of rules that we follow.
When you look back at the years at this company, what was the one moment in time that you can kind of sit back and say, you know, that was probably my most enjoyable moment?
Most enjoyable moment, that's a good question. We're getting ready. It's funny you asked that, because we're getting ready for a convention coming up. And I got asked the same question, what's the most memorable day? And I don't know, in hindsight, it's kind of the most enjoyable, but the lead up. And that was the day that we opened on the NASDAQ stock exchange for our initial public offering. I had been hired in late 1994 to raise money, and it took me a long time to do that, so it was November 2003.
Mm-hmm. And then on the flip side, what was the most difficult moment you had faced, and how did you take on that challenge? How did you actually overcome that challenge?
Okay, the difficult moment probably has to do when we had some transitioning around some board members. That we had a board member leaving the board, and how we were going to fill that position, and just the different opinions as to who that person might be. But it was, again, seeking as much information as I could, looking for advice from people who've been there before, and then just being very open about, maybe my expectations and what I hoped to achieve.
And then one more question, and that is, what do you do in your personal time? What do you do when you're not at work?
What do I do when I'm not at work? Well, the good news is I love to travel, which is really great when a big part of your job is traveling. I have 2 adult children, young adult children. I have a lake cabin, and so we like to relax there. We cook together. I like to read and get some exercise in.
Great. Any question I should have asked you that I didn't?
I'm trying to think. No, I would have to say I'm really honored to have received this award. But it does go to my whole team, because they're the ones, as you know, that get you there. So, so here's for the team.
Oh, great. Well, thank you for your time.
Thanks, Dale.